Last Saturday, my town, Gaohang, held a grand dragon boat race. My son and I went to watch it. It was my first time seeing a dragon boat race in person, and it was amazing. The weather was sunny and warm. There was a dragon dance and a line dance in the opening ceremony, which immediately sparked loud cheers from the crowd. The competitors couldn't resist using the moment to practice one more time. Meanwhile, I spotted a vivid dragon flying in the sky. After a closer look, I realized the dragon's head was actually a drone. How clever of the person who came up with that idea! The racers rode as fast as they could, while the audience cheered for their favorite teams. A 75-year-old lady standing next to us said it had been a long time since she last watched a dragon boat race in her hometown, Ganzhou, in Jiangxi province. She told us the dragon boats there were twice as big as the ones here, and the dragons were carved much more beautifully. The race course wasn't just a straight line, it had curves and was much longer. Hundreds of thousands of people would come to watch, filling up the mountains and the city walls. She really missed that scene, but since she is now in Shanghai, she had to make do with this mini dragon boat race for comfort. I understand how she felt. Shanghai is an international modern city, and most of its populations comes from all over China, even other countries. So perhaps the customs brought from their hometowns have faded over time. The dragon boat race we were watching now felt like a kind of cultural revival. Jiangxi province is more inland in China than Shanghai, so it probably keeps more traditional customs. As for Shanghai, it became dry land only quite late in history. But why do we have dragon boat races on the Dragon Boat Festival? There's a famous legend. We do it to commemorate Qu Yuan. He drowned himself in the Miluo River on the fifth day of the fifth month because he was heartbroken over his country's fate. People wanted to offer him rice, but there were dragons in the river, so they put the rice inside bamboo tubes to keep the dragons from smelling it. They rowed boats out and threw the tubes into the river. They also decorated their boats to look like dragons, hoping the real dragons wouldn't attack them. However, there's another explanation for the dragon boat race tradition, one that dates back much earlier than Qu Yuan's time. Wen Yuduo, a famous scholar from the Republic of China era, thought that the Dragon Boat Festival is rooted in ancient dragon worship, which spanned from the Yellow River Valley through the Yangtze Valley down to the Pearl River Valley, more than 8,000 years ago. He believed that dragons were seen as very powerful creatures in ancient Chinese myths. People feared them and worshipped them. So when they fished, swam, or just walked by rivers, they tattooed dragon patterns on their skin and wore colorful ribbons, hoping the dragons would think they were baby dragons and leave them alone. They also carved their boats into the shape of a dragon and rowed as fast as they could, so a dragon might think the boat was one of its own kind and not attack it. That's how the dragon boat came to be. And over time, it turned into dragon boat racing. But if dragons are only imaginary animals, why did ancient people fear them and worship them? Why are there so many specific precautions in the legend of Qu Yuan? There must have been a real life model for the dragon. What could it be? There are many guesses, pythons, constellations, totems, but the one I find most convincing is the crocodile. Ancient Chinese people described the dragon as the leader of all skilled animals. It could be big or small, it lived in water, on land, or in the sky. It controlled the rain. Do these traits have anything to do with crocodiles? Absolutely. Ancient people don't know zoology, and it was hard to observe crocodiles up close. Maybe they saw baby alligators or other small reptiles like lizards and geckos. They might have occasionally come across giant crocodiles or even something like a torpedo that looked like a huge crocodile flying through the sky. All the observations left them an impression of the very size of dragons. Crocodiles and alligators live in water but also dig caves for shelter. So it's no surprise that ancient people believed the dragon can live in water, on land, and in the sky. When rain is coming, crocodiles can sense the change in air pressure and make sounds that almost seem like they are calling for the rain. Listen. From about 10,000 to 5,000 years ago, China's climate was warmer and wetter than it is now, almost subtropical. There were many forests, swamps, and rivers near where people lived. Lots of crocodiles and alligators inhabited ancient China. There were two main types, the saltwater crocodiles and the Chinese alligator. The saltwater crocodiles are fierce and eat large animals like buffaloes, horses, and even humans. Adults could grow over 7 meters or even 10 meters. The Chinese alligators, on the other hand, are calm and timid. Adults are only about 1.5 to 2 meters long. They eat fish, shrimp, and shellfish. What a coincidence! In Chinese dragon myths, there are exactly two kinds of dragons, one called Long and the other called Jiao. Long is an auspicious symbol. If a long appeared, it usually meant the emperor had done something good. People even raised and ate long about 5,000 years ago. That's recorded in ancient texts like 左传 and records of the grand historian 史记. I believe the long mentioned there was actually the Chinese alligator, since it's not very aggressive. In contrast, Jiao is notorious in myths, a real threat to humans. There are many records of Jiao harming people, and a hero stepping up to kill one. The most famous story is Zhou Chu getting rid of 3 scourges, a tiger, a jiao, and the worst one of all, himself. In the tale, Zhou Chu spent 3 days hunting down and finally killing the jiao. If the origin of jiao were the Chinese alligator, even an old woman could beat it with a stick. So how did dragon become a purely mythical creature? I think it comes down to climate change and human activity. Over time, the climate in China, especially in Henan province, became drier and colder. Crocodiles and alligators gradually migrated to the south, where the climate was warm and wet. At the same time, human activities like farming greatly reduced the habitats of crocodiles and alligators. Gradually, these animals disappeared from people's daily sight. They survived only in memory, stories, and ancient texts. And that's how they slowly turned into mythical beings. One thing I've never come across before this is the origin of the Dragon Boat Festival actually shows how our ancestors fought against and adapted to nature. Anyway, for now, let's just enjoy the race. Thanks for watching.